Tonight from Yankee Stadium, the Red Sox play their first game since winning the American League East last night. It's David Ortiz's final career game here at the stadium. The Sox have wrapped up the division, of course, but are still playing for a home field advantage throughout the postseason. The Yankees' walk-off win last night means they are still mathematically alive for a wild card, but barely. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner is Jerry Remy. Garen Austin along in just a couple of moments. The Red Sox did indeed celebrate last night despite a bizarre and strange finish to that baseball game, as strange as anything we have seen, and really got going, Jerry, after John Farrell kind of gave them the permission with a terrific post-game speech.
You know, I don't think anybody knew what to do, you know, when they got off the field, because they just lost the game on a walk-off grand slam home run, yet they win a division. So it was one of the weirdest things that I have ever seen in baseball. And until John Farrell started to give that speech, it was almost like everybody was kind of afraid to do anything. Well, he addressed the ball club, told them they should be very proud of what they've accomplished over the season, regardless of what happened last night, and then they started to celebrate. Now, I talked to John Farrell today about what's going to happen in the next 4 days, and he said that he wants his guys to play a lot in these 4 days. Now, a few are missing from the lineup tonight, but over the weekend, expect to see the regular lineup because they want to finish with the best record. He said it's very important to him and the players. They want to be in the lineup because they got 3 days off before they start the playoffs. Remember that. So they got to keep these guys sharp. So they expect to see most of the starters in the lineup for the remainder of the season.
And there's also the issue of the integrity of the game, because those games over the weekend are so important to the Toronto Blue Jays, who are trying to get into postseason play. Red Sox wrapping it up with the Yankees, and when we come back, Garen Austin will be chatting with John Farrell all about what happened last night and what is to come. Henry Owens is on the mound tonight, the left-hander, taking on the New York Yankees in the stadium in a moment. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. Subaru Retailers of New England. Bob's Discount Furniture. Everybody saves at Bob's Discount Furniture, in store or at mybobs.com. And by Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, Game 3, the finale. This wraps up the road trip for the Red Sox and heading back home for the final 3 at Fenway against Toronto. We go downstairs now to Garen Austin, still blowing that wind big time, but that champagne was all over you last night, Garen, in that clubhouse.
Well, I'm not sure the visitors' clubhouse here will ever be the same, OB. After all the celebrations for the Red Sox winning their 8th AL East title, the team will start postseason play on Thursday, but with 4 games remaining in the regular season, the team will need to continue to focus on winning until then.
Based on the lineup tonight, there's a couple of guys who've gotten off their feet, guys that are in need of it. Have had a chance to sit down with others individually as we look at the upcoming weekend. We also know that there's going to be 3 days off next week in which to recharge some. So still, the importance of winning and maintaining our daily approach is priority number 1. How that might affect how deep a starter goes into the upcoming games might be looked at a little bit more close. But still, we feel it's imperative to at least secure as much home field advantage as we can.
John Farrell talking about the upcoming series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Those 3 games beginning on Friday. Weather could be a factor. If you're looking at the forecast, there's a lot of rain on Friday and on Saturday, even maybe some on Sunday, which could also interfere with the David Ortiz ceremonies, but we'll see how things roll along. The Red Sox lineup brought to you by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Aaron Hill is leading it off tonight. He's at third, Benintendi in left, Xander Bogaerts at short. Then David Ortiz, likely to get 2 at-bats tonight. Chris Young in right, Jackie Bradley in center, Ryan Hannigan doing the catching, Travis Shaw at first, and Devin Marrero at second base. A lot of the regulars are out of the lineup tonight against the Yankees starter. Presented by GMC, that is the left-hander Sabathia, 8-12, a 4.02 ERA. 6'6", 300 pounds. And ready for the first offering. Ball 1, and we're underway. Hill hitting .229 with a couple of homers, 9 runs batted in. He's come off the bench in this series to hit a home run, his first career pinch hit homer. And a 1-0 finds the mark for a strike. In his career, Sabathia 12-13, a 4.59 ERA against Boston. Sox have seen him a lot, 34 starts. And blew foul out of play.
Yeah, 2 starts ago, and no decision against the Red Sox. That was at Fenway Park. Went 5 innings in that game, gave up 4 earned runs.
Benintendi on deck, and then Xander Bogaerts. What a bizarre way to go to division champs last night for the Boston Red Sox. Everyone's still shaking their heads when it came to the ballpark today, as that one is outside to make it 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, as I've said, Dave, it's one of the strangest things that I've ever seen in baseball. I mean, you could have possibly had 2 teams celebrating on the field at the same time.
Teixeira with the grand slam to walk it off. The 2-2 coming. He chased it, and that is strike 3, 1 away.
The Yankees defense is brought to you by DraftKings. They are 7th in the league with 85 errors on the season. Chase Headley will be at third base. D.D. Gregorius the shortstop. Starlin Castro at second. And Tyler Austin the first baseman. Left to right, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Aaron Hicks. And Brian McCann doing the catching for Sabathia.
1 man out, Benintendi digging in. 309, 2 home runs, and 14 RBIs for the rookie, who came up on the 2nd of August, and never for a second as he looked like he didn't belong here.
Now, first time he's faced CC Sabathia also.
Andrew 0 for 4 last night. And he lays off the breaking ball.
Well, Sabathia at one time a flamethrower in his younger days, but not the case anymore. Relies a lot now on a cut fastball, changeup, breaking ball.
He's had a lot of injuries. And a lot of strikeouts. He leads all active pitchers in strikeouts with over 2,700. Yeah, there was a time he was the ace of aces.
Yeah, and then remember when he was with Milwaukee? They got him, and they pitched him like every day. It was ridiculous.
Short rest, out of the bullpen. Did everything for them. That'll miss downstairs. Won the Cy Young in 2007. Going 19-7. He's had a 20-win year as well. Went 21-7 one season. Three and two.
You see the fastball right there topping out right now at about 87, 88 miles an hour.
Xander Bogaerts, one of the regulars playing tonight, as is Big Papi. 3-2. And down he goes. Strike three. Back-to-back Ks by Sabathia to start it. Here are the umpires tonight. They're brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. Alan Porter behind the plate. Then Brian Onora, Jeff Kellogg, John Tumpain on the bases. And we're available. This telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory back Toyota Certified used vehicle right now.
Buenas noches, amigos.
Bogaerts 295 with 20 homers, 88 runs batted in. And a little 3-game hitting streak. Two down in the 0-1 from Sabathia. He checked his swing.
One of the personal goals for Xander Bogaerts would be to end up at a 300 average. 295 coming into tonight. He'd have to get hot over the last 4 games, but it's possible.
He has scored a lot of runs, hasn't he? 113 runs. That is number 7 in the majors. He's had a lot of outstanding parts of his season. If you're around Xander for any length of time, you're going to get a hug. And when he gets to know you, which takes him 10 seconds, he'll call you by name and he'll hug you every day. Count goes to 3 balls and a strike. One of the friendliest guys, not just on the Red Sox, but in all of baseball. Very polite, very warm individual. And just a pleasure to be around. Here's the 3-1. Through there for a strike.
Let's see Matthew again with that fastball on the 3-1 count at 87 miles an hour. There was a time when this guy threw 96, 97 miles an hour, not 87.
36-year-old left-hander taking a sign from McCann. And the 3-2. And it's in there for strike 3. So he strikes out the side. He's off to a roaring start tonight. He gets the Red Sox in order. It's brought to you by New England Chevy dealers, and it'll be Brett Gardner to lead it off. They're going with an A-list lineup. Ellsbury in center field, Sanchez the DH with Castro at second, Gregorius with 20 home runs at short. Then it'll be Headley, McCann, Hicks, and Tyler Austin, who's at first base. Teixeira resting tonight against the Red Sox starting pitcher, presented by New England Audi dealers. Henry Owens coming in at 0-1, ERA of 7.79. And starting in place of Drew Pomeranz, who is missing this turn because of a forearm issue.
The only 4 starts on the season for the Red Sox. One of those against the Yankees, a no decision against New York.
And the lefty's first one. That's a strike. Red Sox resting Dustin Pedroia, Mookie Betts, Hanley Ramirez, Sandy Leon, and Brock Holt tonight. But John Farrell has talked about, as he told Garrett Austin, playing those guys, maybe not all of them at the same time, but occasionally that'll be the situation into the Toronto series, because those games are going to continue to be very meaningful for both the Red Sox and the Blue Jays.
That's exactly the question I asked him early this afternoon. I said, John, what's your plan? He said, to win 4 games. I said, okay, smart guy. Now tell me the plan.
I want the plan.
Yeah. But you got it right on, Dave. He's, you give a couple of guys a day off, but basically you're going to see pretty much all the players in that series against Toronto for a couple of reasons. It means a lot to Toronto, obviously, and the Red Sox want desperately to get the best record in the American League.
Toronto leading the wild card by 1 over the Orioles, who lead by 1 over Detroit for that second wild card. 1-2, just off the outside, really where Hannigan wanted it, but just off the corner. Here's the wild card picture. Seattle's still in it too, at 2 games back of the second wild card slot. So down the stretch we come. But the Red Sox no longer looking at that scoreboard, at those out-of-town scores. At least in terms of the division, that has been put away. Still keeping an eye on Texas, of course, and the Cleveland Indians. Ellsbury on deck. Count 3 balls, 2 strikes on Gardner. And the payoff pitch, and slap to the shortstop. Xander up with it and gets him.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and they are 3rd in the American League with 75 errors. Aaron Hill will be at third base, and Bogart's the shortstop. Devin Marrero at second, and Travis Shaw, the first baseman. Left to right, Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Chris Young. And Ryan Hannigan starts behind the plate for the Red Sox tonight.
Ellsbury batting .260 with 9 home runs. He was 0 for 3 last night. He was part of the pregame ceremonies to honor Big Papi as a former teammate. Mariano Rivera came out, got a huge hand here, and a great big hug from David, helping to present the painting of David Ortiz at home plate here at Yankee Stadium. Sanchez on deck. Owens, of course, had a lot of trouble with ball 4 at the big league level. If he can stay away from that, he could have success. His 5th start of the season, 17 1/3 innings, and he's heard ball 4 18 times.
Yeah, you look at his last 2 starts in a Red Sox uniform, 5 walks, 6 walks. That's just you're not going to get away with much at the big league level walking that many people. And he walks Jacoby Ellsbury. So Ellsbury is on with 1 down. But to honor Big Papi's final season, the Yankees held this pregame ceremony. David and his family coming out.
And there's Mariano Rivera. David appeared thrilled by his presence here tonight. The New England Honda dealers would like to say thank you, Big Papi. We salute your passion, your spirit, and your drive to be a champion. She has been 3 times and hopes to be for a 4th time this October. Sanchez hitting .311 with 20 homers in just over 50 games.
They're talking about at bats tonight for Ortiz, and Farrell said probably 2, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if he gets a hit in the first one that maybe he leaves after that. We'll see.
Runner at first and the 0-1. Right through it.
Change up that time by Owens. Pulling the string on Gary Sanchez, a little bit out in front of that. Then you see the circle change, as they call it.
Even though he has an ERA this season with the Red Sox at near 8, Boston is 3-1 in his starts. So they've rallied several times when he's been on the mound, and Jacoby will skip back in. 18 thefts and 26 attempts for the former Red Sox outfielder. Sanchez showing terrific power. There goes the runner. A wave and a miss. Here's the throw by Hannigan, and not going to get him. Ellsbury with a theft of second as Sanchez went down on strikes. A swing and a miss.
Yeah, very good jump at first base by Jacoby. Plus he got the advantage of seeing a changeup go to home plate. He takes a peek back to see if there's any contact. There's no contact, but no problem stealing the bag. Good jump and a good pitch to go on the changeup.
Fans, be sure to stop by Plainridge Park Casino. Plainridge Park Casino is the official sponsor of winning. 2 down. Brings up Starlin Castro, second baseman, hitting .271, 21 home runs. Red Sox rallied and scored 3 times in the 8th inning last night and were sitting pretty. And that was a rally that started when Castro booted a ground ball in shallow right field, playing second base while blowing a bubble.
Yeah, it was kind of a strange play because, you know, he started to charge the ball and he really didn't have to. He had Leone going down the first base line. And then the ball came up, hit him in the heel of the glove while he was blowing that bubble, and Red Sox were able to capitalize on that.
Social media lit up about that. A lot of folks believing that the blowing of the bubble caused the error. It's some kind of distraction, and just, you know, that's what did it.
Mm-hmm. What about all the other ones he caught, though, while blowing a bubble?
Well, there's that too. The 0-1. Back to that play in the 8th inning.
Yeah, so the Yankee playoff hopes go up in a bubble. See him charge the ball where I really didn't think he had to do that, and it actually ended up being a bad hop on him and hit him in the heel of the glove, and there's the bubble.
Bad hop, but it was a pretty good bubble. Ellsbury at second, no score in the first, and stopped by Hannigan.
A lot of changeups from Owens here in the first inning to these right-handed hitters in particular.
Man, does a lot have to go right for the New York Yankees to get into postseason play. Their elimination number is 1. Just to force a tiebreaker for the second wild card, they'd need to win tonight and get wins in all 3 games against Baltimore this weekend. A Baltimore loss tonight, at least 3 losses in 4 games by Detroit. Line shot into left center field. That'll drop down for a hit. Extra bases. It'll keep on rolling and score a run. Ellsbury is in. Down to second base, Castro. 70th RBI of the year to make it 1-0. The Yankees take the early lead.
Now, once again, you know, it's the changeup from Owens, but this one stays up in the zone. Instead of being down and below the knees, this one stays up about belt high, as you can see right there. And he's seen so many. The off-speed pitch didn't fool him, and the location certainly helped him. Ellsbury, who stole second base on the strikeout, scores easily on the double.
Houston, by the way, is also ahead of the Yankees, but is tied with the Yankees in the loss column. So they got a lot of people who have to collapse to have any chance. Here's Gregorius at 277, 20 home runs. Trying to hold up, checking his swing, and he did.
Take a look from the side. Did he go? No.
Two down, a man at second. And a fly ball pretty well hit to left. And Benintendi there to make the play. And that'll do it, but the Yankees strike first. 1-0 New York after one. Back at Yankee Stadium, a standing ovation for David Ortiz, batting for the first time tonight. Now, Sabathia has been tough on David. He's hitting 219 off him with 2 home runs. And a bounding ball foul. Tonight, NESN proud to present our second Big Papi special, the David Ortiz era. Presented by Foxwoods Resort Casino. Tonight, immediately following this game on NESN and NESN National. David with 53 career home runs against the Yankees, 4th most all time. 2-1. Line shot down into the corner, but foul.
This obviously, Dave, the largest crowd of the series, and I think a lot of it's because, obviously, of David Ortiz. His final game at Yankee Stadium.
Two and two. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Strike three. And Sabathia started the night by fanning the first 4 Red Sox.
That first curveball Ortiz saw and not at bat, and he gets Sabathia gets him to chase it off the plate. Fastball's inside for the most part, and then the breaking ball way down and away. You're right, he hadn't had good success in his career against Sabathia. Only the .219 average, couple of home runs, but way off balance on that breaking ball.
David had a great line about what he has meant to these two cities. He said, when you're a villain, you're a villain. When you're a hero, you're a hero. Not too many guys get to be both.
Exactly right. You know, and we kind of talked about it in our view tonight about Ortiz, and you know how the group that he played on in that first championship for the Red Sox really changed the culture of the Yankee Red Sox histories. It had always been, well, the Yankees were going to find a way to beat the Red Sox, you know, and then finally it happened. And I think in the process, the Yankees as an organization grew more respect for the Red Sox.
No doubt. 1-1. Little floater toward right coming on Hicks. It's going to drop down for a base hit for Chris Young. So the Red Sox have their first base runner. And of course it was how it happened.
Yes.
Storming from down 3 games to none, and to win it here, that 7th game here at Yankee Stadium, and to put away so many of those demons. That group of guys will never be forgotten. Jackie Bradley now 272, 26 homers, 87 runs batted in. Jackie finishing out a really fine regular season, which included a trip to the All-Star game. Stole his 9th base of the season last night. Still tied for the league leaders among Major League center fielders with 12 outfield assists. And has hit the Yankees well, particularly well. 2-0. At this time last night, the game was being played in a steady, really a relentless mist. A very chilly night here. No rain tonight. Little dribbler. That's going to be a fair ball. Keep rolling, and now rolls foul off the chalk line.
You know, it's interesting. We're down to the final 4 games of the season. You think there's still some fire, though, with CC Sabathia? He struck out Bogarts. Bogarts questioned the call, and Sabathia didn't like it at all. This was last inning. Seeing Bogarts questioning the call. He didn't think it was a strike. Sabathia looking at him, just shaking his head, saying, and I don't know what he's saying, but shaking his head like, what are you doing complaining about that? The ball's right down the middle. Or something like that. But he's still got the fire in the belly.
He does. Jackie back in, a count of 2 balls, 1 strike with 1 down. And Young at first base, 1-0 New York here in the second. Three and 1. Jackie hitting .357 against the Yankees this year with a couple of home runs. Ryan Hannigan in the lineup tonight doing the catching. He's up next. And a tapper to the right side. Castro shovels it, got the out back to first and safe. Jackie Bradley beats the wrap. Young out at second base, and there are 2 gone.
Nice shuffle pass right there by Castro, and made it a close play at first base. But you see Bradley hustling down the line. He's going to beat it. But the fact is that the Yankees, a combination of Castro and Gregorius, did a pretty nice job turning over that, or attempting to turn over that double play.
Ryan Hannigan in. Had 167 with a homer, man, 14 RBIs. This is his first at bat on the road trip, and trickled to Castro. He has time to go to first base, and that'll do it. Nothing comes of the base hit, and after 1.5 at the stadium, it is 1-0 New York. A true fact, last night the Red Sox clinching the AL East title after finishing in last place last year. They also won the AL East in 2013 after finishing last in 2012. Elias says the Red Sox are the first team to go from worst to first twice in a 5-year span. Twisted tea, the hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea, be a little twisted. So John Farrell and his coaching staff all smiles playing tonight's game, and they were throughout batting practice. Coaching staff did a marvelous job, has done a marvelous job, and they deserve a lot of credit. Worked very, very long and hard hours, those guys. Torey Lovullo is #1 captain there. Really put in the time and the effort to turn this thing around for the Red Sox. Tap foul by Headley.
I thought one of the great shots of last night, as we look at Chili Davis, the Red Sox hitting coach, was when Farrell looked up at that scoreboard and he saw that scoreboard change to a 3-2 Baltimore lead over Toronto. You could tell he was looking at it, and he kind of gave like a, the eyebrows went up, like, oh, that's good stuff. So they can tell you they don't watch the scoreboard, but they do. I thought that was a terrific shot.
It really was. Ground ball here to Xander Bogaerts, who will dig it out of the dirt and fire on to get Headley. 1 out in the second, 1-0 New York. Red Sox last night winning their 8th American League East title, clinching on the road for just the second time. Also did that in 1988 against Cleveland. And the Sox will play their first postseason game on Thursday, October 6th, at a location to be determined. Brian McCann now hitting just .237, but with 19 homers. He'll take strike one. Jammed him there, and he popped it up, but foul back over the netting. Red Sox do own the tiebreaker over Cleveland because they won the season series 4-2 against Terry Francona's club, but the Rangers own the tiebreaker over Boston, having secured a better intra-division record. Long look in by the slender left-hander, and now the 0-2 to McCann. Could not put him away there. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Looking at those best records in the American League and the remaining games. Indians finishing up at Kansas City. The Royals, the defending World Series champs, eliminated from postseason play.
Well, it should go right down to Sunday, I would think. And that's exactly what baseball had in mind when they put in the wild card. Get more cities, more baseball teams involved in postseason play.
Man, there are a lot of cities right now who are delighted with the wild card right here in New York. The Mets, San Francisco, St. Louis, certainly Toronto, Baltimore, Detroit, Seattle, Houston. They are still alive and kicking heading into the final weekend. Here's the 3-2. High fly down the right field line, but he's going to push this one foul.
The same kind of wind blowing tonight in Yankee Stadium as we did last night, blowing almost in from center field. A lot of times, because this place is so big and so high, that the wind does not have as much effect on the field as, say, a ballpark like Fenway Park, which is not nearly as high as this structure.
Owens with a 3-2, and that is in there for strike 3. Alan Porter, one of those umpires who delays the visible call, but he gives the strike verbally to the hitter. That's the second K tonight for Owens.
Yeah, that really surprised McCann too, because he hadn't seen a curveball yet, and that time he gets one right on the inside part of the plate. Alan Porter, the games that we've seen him umpire, is pretty much, I would call him a pitcher's umpire. Generally has a fairly good sized strike zone.
Did you keep a book on umpires yourself?
No, I did not.
I know some guys do. As Hicks gets in, popped up, long run here for Shaw over to the stands, but can't get to it. Now, some players keep a meticulous book, right down to comments that the umpires made to them, kind of under their breath. They little quotation marks in there.
Now, most of the things they said under their breath to me were not very nice.
2 down, the bases are empty. 1-0 Yankees have the lead here in the second. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, and Garen Austin with you. Despite the wind, it is far more comfortable here tonight, certainly for the players, because it's dry as opposed to last night. A ball and a strike on Hicks, who has a little power. He's hit 8 homers. You're talking about coming down to the final weekend. Weren't you absolutely convinced? I know I was about 3 weeks ago that the Red Sox run for the division title would come down to the last weekend.
Yeah, it's the way the whole thing was playing out. You know, it just looked like it was gonna end up sometime in this Yankee series or even at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. It's been that close all the way through, and a couple of tough teams, obviously, with Toronto and Baltimore.
Foul tip and into the mitt and held by Hannigan to make it 2 balls 2 strikes.
What scared me the most, and we've talked about this over and over again, but was the road trips. I mean, they really had me very concerned about the fate of the Red Sox this season, but they handled it beautifully.
Red Sox, since the very first series against the Cleveland Indians in a chill back in April, have been an excellent road team. 2-2 swung on and missed, and he strikes him out. Owen sails through the second inning. 1-2-3. It is time now for our Dunkin' Donuts poll question. Which of the other American League divisional winners is a bigger threat, do you think, to the Red Sox in the playoffs? Text 1 for the Rangers, 2 for the Indians. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply.
That's a good question. I'm going to say the Rangers, and the reason I say that, it's very difficult to play down there. It really is.
We know how good Terry Francona can be in postseason play too. So the Indians can be just as dangerous in there for a called strike, but their pitching has not been terribly healthy. Kluber has been bothered by a groin injury, and it looks like he's coming back in time. Travis Shaw hitting .244 with 16 homers, 71 runs batted in, 1 for 19 on this trip. So he has gone a little bit cold. Like to heat back up again just in time.
Now, I was looking today at some of the stats for the Cleveland Indians, just looking ahead just a little bit. They are second in the league in ERA behind Toronto.
Tap to the right side. Castro will throw on to get him. 1 away.
The thing that surprised me the most is the fact that they are second in the league in runs scored behind the Red Sox. So the Red Sox and the Indians are very similar offensively and pitching wise in the statistical numbers that they have. So it's a, you know, it looks like a pretty even matchup on paper.
And there it is.
And here's the paper.
Yeah. We shall see. I mean, I think everyone in the Red Sox clubhouse is still going through the celebration phase, not really focusing on any opponent yet. I asked Brock Holt about that earlier today. He said, frankly, we could care less. We'd prefer to be home.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Get that home field advantage, regardless of who the opponent's going to be in any round. Dev Marrero getting the start tonight at second. 1 for 10 on the season. That one right by everyone to the backstop by Sabathia.
Stalin Castro at second base, playing in almost a double play depth, like he's expecting a push bunt in that direction. You don't see that very often.
popped up. That'll twist foul off into the crowd, off the bat of Marrero. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Boston Red Sox. You can experience the thrill of playing on DraftKings right now. Play free daily using the promo code NESN at DraftKings.com.
Now with 2 strikes, Castro moves back to his normal position at second base. So they must have a book on Marrero from his minor league times where he likes to push the ball to the right side.
The 1-2. And down he goes, and another strikeout by Sabathia, who has already rung up 5 of those.
Sabathia this time going up in the strike zone with the fastball to pick up the strikeout. That's that cut fastball that he throws now an awful lot, both away from right-handers and inside the right-handers.
On top of the order now, and Aaron Hill, who struck out to start the ball game. It was the first of 3 consecutive strikeouts by Sabathia. CC is one of those guys who feels like he has been around forever. 36 years old. That one's smoked and caught by Headley. And the Red Sox will go in order. 1, 2, 3 here in the 3rd.
At the bottom of the 3rd, the Yankees have a 1-0 lead. I'm Garen Austin. Hello, everyone. I spoke to pitching coach Carl Willis, and he said that Henry Owens went down to Florida and pitched in the Instructional League last week. He threw about 66 pitches, and he also faced live batters in a 2-inning sim game back at Fenway Park about 2 weeks ago. Willis said they were hoping that there weren't too many lasting effects from having so much time in between starts and that Owens would adjust. And Owens made his major league debut at Yankee Stadium in 2015. And Willis said that he has really great memories and that really helps his comfort level. And guys, Drew Pomeranz threw a bullpen today. He spoke with reporters after and said his forearm felt pretty good, but he had yet to have any conversations with John Farrell about what the plan would be for the bullpen this weekend.
All right, Garrett, thank you very much for the update there as Tyler Austin is in. Henry Owens was 10 years old when David Ortiz joined the Red Sox. And pitching tonight in Big Papi's swan song at Yankee Stadium. David so far tonight, 1 at bat. He has struck out against Sabathia. And a 1-1 from the 24-year-old. Line to left. Benintendi will play it on a hop. So it drops in for a base hit. Austin, the guy broke the Red Sox hearts on Tuesday night with a 2-run homer.
Yeah, he's had a good series in the 2 games that he's played against the Red Sox. You mentioned the home run, now the sinking line drive for the base hit off Owens. Leadoff man on here in the 3rd inning.
Get that home run off of David Price the other night. Middle center Brett Gardner 0 for 1, and the speedy left fielder has grounded out to the shortstop. 1-0 Yankees in the 3rd. Red Sox home on Friday night, game 1 against Toronto. We do know that Rick Porcello will be pitching, and nothing short of incredible at Fenway Park, where he's only lost 1 game, and that was 1-0. High pop up, giving chase now. Shaw and Marrero, and Shaw lunging, can't get to it. Eduardo Rodriguez will go on Saturday. He's coming off a 13 strikeout gem. And David Price on Sunday, the regular season finale at 3:05. And again, we're keeping an eye on the weather. I know everybody is, who plans on coming to Fenway for the David Ortiz weekend celebration.
You know, the interesting thing is we've heard about rain every day since we've been in New York. We had some mist last night, as you mentioned, but we've made it through. Hopefully be the same in Boston this weekend.
Might just get a little lucky. 1 strike on Gardner. Line shot coming on. Jackie makes the play. Has a chance for 2, thrown back to first base, but not a lot on that throw. Off balance throw, and back in was Austin as Gardner lines out.
A great jump by Bradley in center field. This ball looked like it may have a chance to find a gap, but Bradley closes that gap in a hurry. Then that sidearm throw to first base, not nearly in time to get Austin as he was headed back to the bag. Well, left the bat. I thought it was going to drop in.
We've said that before this season, and Jackie's gotten to it. He's done it over and over again. Red Sox outfield defense on a typical night, especially when it's Mookie Betts in right field, is among the very, very best in the major leagues. Believe me when I tell you, the pitching staff notices that. That one gets behind Hannigan, and down to second base safely is Austin.
That ball bouncing well out in front of the plate, and Hannigan doing everything he possibly could to knock the ball down. Fastball that he throws directly down in the dirt, and you can see Hannigan there trying to kick it, backhand it, do everything he can, and the ball ends up behind him and in scoring position.
So a wild pitch has a Yankee in scoring position. They're already in front 1-0. Ellsbury walked, stole a base, and scored a run on the double by Castro in the 1st inning. And he grounds out when he pulls it to the right side. Marrero goes on to first base for the out, down to third Austin, and they're 2 away. Sox fans looking for the best seats to the postseason, make sure you check out the official Red Sox ticket resale marketplace at RedSoxReplay.com. It's the best place for season ticket holders to sell their tickets when they can't make it to the game. 2 away, Sanchez the batter. He struck out in the 1st inning. Now this guy next year, it's going to be fascinating, Jerry, to see him over 162 games and just what kind of numbers he produces with 600 at bats.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, whether or not they can find a weakness on this kid. And you know, last night they exposed him a little bit with high fastballs when they get ahead of him. You talk about big time power. He's got it.
They can swing him between DH and the catcher spot. So they'll find a way to get him a ton of at bats next year, regardless of the position. Austin at third, 2 down, and that drops downstairs. Sanchez was named the August American League Player of the Month and the Rookie of the Month. Which almost never happens. Player and Rookie of the Month. in the same month. Hit .389 with 11 home runs in the month of August. Hanley Ramirez has hit 10 this month. That was a home run swing, and the count 1-1.
Yeah, good changeup again by Owens. You see the grip on that changeup. It's a little bit high, but off speed enough to fool Sanchez.
Two down, a runner at third base for the Yankees.
Hannigan wants another changeup.
Owens home with a 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Being very, very careful with him, which is wise. Castro next. And the 3-1. There's a shot deep down into the corner. He pulled it, and it is a foul ball. Man, is he strong.
Oh, he jumped all over a curveball that time from Owens, but out too far in front of it as he pulls it foul down that left field line. No fastball on the 3-1 count. They tried the breaking ball, and good head discipline on that breaking ball too. He was right on top of it. Now 2.5 steps, and he knew it was going to go foul.
The 3-2 to Sanchez. He got him again. Owens strikes him out for the second time tonight and strands a runner at third base. Moment honoring the 1986 Red Sox, and in game number 159 the Red Sox would lose to the Yankees 5-3. Bob Tewksbury got the win for the Yankees. Went 7 1/3, did not allow a run. He is the Red Sox mental coach and with the club. And Bob, a terrific guy, New Hampshire man. Not kind to the Red Sox in that start. Benintendi 0 for 1. He has struck out. 1-0 as we go on to the fourth inning. Yankees in the lead against Henry, Owens, and the Sox. Ground ball there and picked up by Castro to get Benintendi, and a fast out in the fourth.
So far, Sabathia is making this look pretty easy against this Red Sox lineup.
Bogart's next, and then Big Papi. Red Sox taking the field tonight for the third time as division champs in David Ortiz's tenure. See that Foley's New York Pub and Restaurant introduced a new sandwich this week in honor of David. The Sloppy Papi Burger. It's a half-pound burger stuffed with pulled pork and dipped in barbecue sauce and coleslaw. You're not ordering it.
Good luck.
That's what your doctor says. Foley's at 18 West 33rd Street. They're going to be donating a portion of the proceeds to the David Ortiz Children's Fund. David one batter away and maybe looking at his final at bat coming up in just a moment at Yankee Stadium. High deep drive into left field. He torched that one. Gardner back it goes, gone. Number 21 for Xander Bogaerts, and the Red Sox are on the board and have tied it against Sabathia.
Now Sabathia didn't like it last time, and Bogaerts complained about strike three. He likes this even less. Fastball that time, right over the heart of the plate, and Bogaerts deep. Now Ortiz.
There's some good signs with that swing for Xander heading into October. He had a 3-hit game the other night on Tuesday. And here's David now. He struck out first time up. .540 home runs for Big Papi. Tuno. Downstairs again. 3 balls, no strikes on Ortiz.
If you got to give him 2 at bats tonight, you got to give him the green light on the 3-0 count.
Taking and in there for a called strike.
It was actually a pretty good pitch for him to swing at. A fastball down in his sweet spot, down and in.
John Farrell saying a couple of at bats tonight. This is number 2 for David Ortiz, and the 3-1 from Sabathia. And up and in, and he walks him. Many in the crowd did not like that. Didn't get a whole lot to swing at. So Ortiz will take his base. The Red Sox have tied the game on a home run. And here comes Brock Holt to run for David Ortiz. So he will exit here at Yankee Stadium. He had some glorious days and nights at Old Yankee Stadium and the new one. High and tight for a ball on Young, who singled his first time up. David tonight, a strikeout and a walk. So the next time we will see him will be on Friday night at Fenway Park. Two and 0 on Young. Jackie Bradley on deck. We're tied up 1-1. David grabbing the bats in his gear. Cut on and missed. 2 and 1 on Young.
So he's looking for another bat to give away.
Yeah, he gave away one there. Maybe a pen. We're being told to sign a jersey. Brock Holt in the game at first base, and the 2-1. That's hit sharply. Headley to second, one on to first. Gonna be close, and he got him. Double play. Retires the side, but Xander Bogaerts gets Sabathia and has knotted the score at 1. First choice for value and convenience, and for every Red Sox homer this season, Speedway donates to Boston Children's Hospital. Stop by a Speedway store near you and pick up your free Speedy Rewards card and start earning points today. Xander Bogaerts blasting his 21st home run of the season into the left field stands, and he has tied the game 1-1. And there's the jersey signed by Big Papi to that lucky gentleman. Everyone's going, well, who is that? What did he do to get that? How come David gave him a bat? What's going on there?
I have no idea who the dude is.
Me too. Inquiring minds want to know. Castro, the batter, he doubled in a run his first time. Each side with 2 hits. And Owens pitching tonight, misses up top for a ball. The David Ortiz era will be premiering tonight right after the ball game. Second of the 2 documentary films about Big Papi airing on NESN. So we look forward to that tonight right after this game. That sneaks in there for a called strike. Brought to you by Foxwoods. Owens looking for another strikeout here. And too high for a ball.
Once again, he tries to elevate that fastball. That's what he did to Sanchez last inning to get the strikeout.
Struck out Sanchez in the first and in the third. So you wonder if the Sox are onto something there. That one dribbled foul, just got a piece of it.
I think one thing they're onto is that he will chase high fastballs, and we saw that last night in the game, and we see it tonight again against Owens, who's not exactly a flamethrower. You know, he's about 90, 91, you know, which is decent, don't get me wrong, but I mean, we see Koji go upstairs at 86
and get a ton of swings and misses. I still don't know how he does it. Neither do the hitters. 2-2. All filled up now in Castro with Gregorius on deck and Chase Headley after him. Henry's walked one man that did hurt him. That was Ellsbury, who came in to score, but he's not bunching up the walks. He is going to 3-2 a lot. He's done it again. Poke toward right, backing up Young, and makes the play. 1 out of 4th. Most popular way to follow the postseason is with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy game day, live game video, and more. Get MLB.com at bat on your favorite devices right now. 1 gone for Gregorius. He has flied to left, 0 for 1. He has set new career highs in homers and RBIs, and a new career high in hits as well as extra bases. There's a lot of talk about shortstop when Derek Jeter retired. Would they be able to find a guy to, match what he had been doing? And that might not be possible, but you don't hear any conversation about Gregorius other than he's done a really nice job.
Yeah, he's had a very good season. The 20 home runs on the season, 69 RBIs. He plays a solid defense at shortstop. He's got good range, can run.
The 1-strike pitch. Outside. His range is certainly superior to Derek Jeter's at the end of Jeter's career.
Yeah, that was very noticeable when Gregorius came over here after Jeter had retired.
That wind is really kicking up. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. At times it was a factor in last night's game. Maybe tonight too. Although dry this evening. Gregorius, the 4th Yankee shortstop to hit at least 20 home runs in a season. Popped up. Hill there near the bag. Now to foul territory. 2 out. One thing I have not done all night tonight is look at the out-of-town scores.
No, it's for the first time in a long time that you haven't had to do that. Interesting. One game that of interest, the Cleveland-Detroit game, that was postponed.
Yeah, they had rain today in Detroit, so they never did play it. And Texas is idle.
Is that correct up on the scoreboard? Baltimore's at Toronto again tonight?
Yeah, they're in the 5th inning. Yep.
2-0 Baltimore lead.
Yep. But I haven't looked at it.
I just did. I thought maybe they were off today.
Why'd you look at it, though? You don't have to look. Down into the dirt on Headley.
I have incredible interest in the game of baseball, Dave.
That's it. You're right. I'm sorry I even questioned it.
Now you got Toronto coming in over the weekend. You got 2 teams fighting for the wild card right there. Positioning, obviously.
Blue Jays coming in for the last 3. They are the wild card leader right now, 1 game up on Baltimore. Although Baltimore, if the season ended right now, they'd get in 2. Swung on and missed. Big hack by Headley.
Yeah, that changeup's been pretty good for Owens to this point in the ball game. As has his control. You know, you mentioned he's got a lot of 3-2 counts, but he's got 1 walk. But 1 walk for him at this stage of the game is pretty darn good.
Working tonight with Ryan Hannigan. Benintendi in left with Bradley in center. Young in right tonight with Mookie Betts getting the evening off. Dustin Pedroia also the evening off. And so is Hanley Ramirez as that moves inside. Pedroia has just had a fabulous year. He is 2 hits away from 200. He has played a Gold Glove second base once again. Driven in almost 75 runs. Scored over 100 runs. One big play after another. Have you ever seen a player who makes every play the one he wants to be remembered for, like Dustin Pedroia?
He's the kind of guy that looks in the mirror every single day and says, you know, I'm going to put my best effort forward. If this is the last game I play, it's going to be my best effort. And that's the way he plays every pitch of every game.
He's got his glove on, ball 4 there to Headley. He's got his glove on the bench, just in case. Even though tonight he's supposed to have off. We'll see him on Friday back in that lineup. That'll bring up McCann. He struck out in the second. We're tied up 1-1 in the 4th. Xander Bogaerts nodding to score with a long home run to left field off Sabathia. And the left-hander from the stretch. In there for strike 1 on McCann. McCann's doing the catching tonight. Sanchez is the designated hitter. But Sanchez certainly has supplanted him as the lead catcher for the Yankees. McCann's still a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He has joined David Ortiz as the only players with 20 or more home runs every year from 2008 through 2015. Now he's trying to get to 20 this year. Sitting at 19. That one tied him up. And the count 0-2.
Fastball pretty consistent at about 91, that time inside. To McCann.
Chase Headley aboard at first base. Owens has struck out 4 Yankees so far. He has walked 2. And he has McCann in the hole. And the 0-2. Got a piece, fouled it back. Now, Garrett pointed this out earlier that Henry Owens made his major league debut here at Yankee Stadium in August of last year. Took the loss. He gave up 3 runs, 5 hits in 5 innings. Also struck out 5. He had just turned 23 years old 2 weeks before that. 0-2 with a runner going. It's outside. Here's the throw. A little bit high and not in time. Headley has it stolen.
Headley's got 8 steals now on the season and taking advantage of kind of a high leg kick that time by Henry Owens. And the high leg kick, as you can see, and Hannigan had a little of no chance at all of throwing Headley out at second base. Very good jump.
Second steal tonight for the Yankees. Ellsbury stole one in the first inning after he walked, which is what happened with Headley. He just walked and stole the base. Ellsbury scored their only run in the opening inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes on McCann. And he will swing and miss. Here comes the 1-2. And down he goes, strike 3. He has fanned him twice. Owens holds. We're tied 1-1. Copy translucent last game half scale bat for only $69.95. Call Big Time Bats at 866-280-BATS or go to BigTimeBats.com right now.
Everybody's getting their picture taken with that bat, huh?
It's like David signed it. Signed a jersey as well. On his way down the steps after a couple of trips to the plate tonight and saying goodbye to Yankee Stadium. Got a big ovation. Very nice pregame ceremony with Mariano Rivera on hand and a huge hug between those two ancient rivals. Good pals. Here's Jackie Bradley as we get the 5th inning underway, tied up 1-1. Jackie hit into a 4-6 fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. Looking for his 27th home run, high and tight, and knocks him out of there. Sabathia not afraid to come up and in. He actually did that on Big Papi as well before walking David.
Yeah, he's been consistently doing that to the left-handed hitters here tonight, going inside with that fastball. That time goes to the cut fastball to get the swing and miss from Jackie Bradley.
The wind again blowing hard, man. A 2-2 is Gregorius dipping down to get it and throw him out. So Jackie's 0 for 2. Ace Ticket has playoff tickets on sale right now. Get yours at no risk with full refund for any game not played. Visit aceticket.com for more details and to secure your Sox tickets for the postseason right now. How nice it is to be talking about the Red Sox back in postseason play after the last couple of years. And going from last to first again. The Red Sox doing that twice within a 5-year window. Never been done before. Hannigan 0 for 1. He has grounded to second. Oh, 1 from Sabathia. Will miss outside.
Got to go back though with the breaking ball that time. Started off the outside edge, tried to pick up the corner, didn't miss by very much.
CC has had such a solid career. Not a great year for him. He's 8-12, ERA just over 4. Former Cy Young winner.
Same pitch, but different location. Did bring it into the corner that time. Breaking ball.
His first year with the Yankees was 2009. He went 19-8, and they won the World Series. 1-2, and floated toward left center field. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Recovery by Ellsbury, and so a single for Hannigan. He is on with 1 down, and Travis Shaw trying to fight his way out of a mini slump.
That's a tough thing to do for Hannigan, a guy that has not had a lot of at-bats recently, to get into a ball game against Sabathia and picks up that base hit to center field.
Shaw 0 for 1. He is grounded to second. Travis at first base tonight. Hanley Ramirez has the night off. Now, Travis just 1 for 20 on this road trip. And his average against lefties is now down to 192. He's up around 260 against right-handers. We're in a 1-1 tie here in the 5th. And he'll take a ball. Devin Marrero on deck. As John Farrell is playing some of his reserve players here tonight. A 1-1 foul tip to the mitt.
Once again inside with that fastball to a left-handed hitter that time, Travis Shaw. A little bit of movement on it coming back in toward Travis.
Travis has had kind of an odd year because he's had slumps and then he's had some huge RBI games. He's had 4 different games in which he drove in 5 runs. Mookie Betts has done that. Manny Machado's done that. Only a handful of guys have done it this year. But he's also hit some cold spells.
See what happens here after a number of pitches inside. Does he go to that big sweeping breaking ball like he struck Ortiz out on early in the ball game?
Sabathia with a 2-2. Along the first base line, fair ball, got the out at first, down to second, going to require a tag, and in time to get Hannigan. So they wind up turning to double play. Austin started it, getting the out at first base, and that'll do it for the Red Sox. Dunkin' Donuts poll question: which of the other division winners is a bigger threat to the Red Sox in the playoffs? Do you think it's Texas, the Rangers, or the Cleveland Indians? Big time, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, we've had a lot of landslides here recently in the voting.
Yep. Huge advantage there for Texas. We shall see how it plays out. The Red Sox are going to be taken on in postseason play beginning on the 6th of October. Now, Heath Hembree is starting to loosen in the bullpen as Henry Owens goes into his 5th inning. He has pitched very well, only allowing a 1st inning run on a double by Castro to chase in Ellsbury, who took ball 4. Here's Hicks. Look at a bunt, pops it up. Owens going for it and can't get it. It falls in on what should be a base hit. A popped up bunt that drops in.
Yeah, it looks at me like Marrero, the second baseman, had a better chance at it than Owens. Owens, remember, a left-hander falling off a little bit toward third base. He has to come back the other way. And I think he kind of distracted Marrero, who, in my opinion, probably had a better chance to catch that.
Looked like he may have nicked it with the glove. So bunt single. Pretty fortunate for Hicks there, and that'll send up Austin, who is 1 for 1 with a base hit. Selected by the Yankees in the 13th round of the 2010 first-year player draft. Austin started the night with 4 home runs. Big one on Tuesday. Proved to be the game winner. Yankees have won the first 2 games of this 3-game series. And that'll be outside for a ball. Henry Owens' pitching line is brought to you by Ace Ticket. 5 Ks for the lefty. Brett Gardner on deck with Aaron Hicks on at first. Here's the 1-0. The Red Sox are going to have Rick Porcello on the mound on Friday at 7:10 back at Fenway. And if Rick wins that one, he will improve to 23-4. And right at the top of the conversation for the American League Cy Young. And he's done it for a team that has won its division. How much do you think that plays into the voting?
I think it should play a lot into the voting. I mean, you know, a team that's got to be going to postseason. Now that voting, if I'm not mistaken, is done after the last day of the season or the last day of the season.
That is my understanding on all of that voting. MVP and everything else. 1-1 cut on and miss, so an excellent chance. Certainly a very, very decent chance that the Red Sox could have the Cy Young winner and the MVP in 2016. There's some conversation that because of the gigantic year that David Ortiz has had, and he's certainly an MVP candidate, Mookie Betts obviously an MVP candidate, they could split the vote among Red Sox. Swing and a miss, down he goes, strike 3. And Gardner is next. Strikeout number 6 for Owens. Don't miss WB Mason Extra Innings Live after the premiere of the David Ortiz era. TC, Dennis, and Steve will break it all down, and you'll hear from Henry Owens and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but WB Mason. Gardner has grounded out and lined out, so he's 0 for 2 tonight. 1 man away. We're tied up 1-1. Yankees with a base runner. And a strike. Aaron Hill playing in at third base and now backing up a little bit.
Tell you, this may be the best control we've seen Henry Owens have in a start for the Red Sox.
Gardner with a little bit of power. He's hit 7 home runs out of that leadoff spot, but not nearly as good as a year ago. Popped up. Bogart's backing into very shallow center field. And they're 2 down. Capital One Frozen Fenway returns to Boston in January of 2017. Fans can enjoy 2 exciting outdoor Hockey East doubleheaders on January 7 and 14. Tickets are on sale right now. Visit redsox.com/frozenfenway for more information. So 2 away for Jacoby Ellsbury. Jacoby tonight with a walk, a stolen base, and a run. He's also grounded out to second. When we go to the 6th inning, the Red Sox will have due up Marrero, Hill, and Benintendi against Sabathia. We talked about this a while ago during a Red Sox-Yankees series. Jacoby Ellsbury has reached on catcher's interference 11 times this season, which is a staggering figure.
It really is. You know, when you look at his backswing, Dave, it comes way back toward the catcher, and catches, you know, have to be aware of that. They've got to go back a little bit deeper than they normally do when Ellsbury's at the plate. He also stands very way back in the box too. See how far Hannigan is from him.
That happened a lot when he was at the Red Sox, but nothing close to 11 times in a season. That'll be in there for a called strike. He's had 25 of those in his career. That is the most by any major leaguer since Pete Rose, 29 times.
I don't think that happened to me one time.
Not once.
I don't believe it did. Many times I wish it would have.
And you get your base.
Just to see first base again.
You know, catchers hate it for a lot of reasons. Number one is they get charged with an error on a play. Foot right on that back line of the box. Here comes the 1-1. Not to be made. Back in safely is Hicks.
Hicks 3 steals on the season, has been caught 3 times.
Red Sox tied up here 1-1. David Ortiz done for the night. Got in the box twice tonight, struck out and took ball 4, and that was it for David. His farewell to Yankee Stadium. Fouled back out of play. Dave was talking about in the Players Tribune, that's Derek Jeter's site where athletes can write about whatever they want to write about. He's talking about Boston, his connection to the city, it being his real home, not just a place that he plays baseball and makes a living. Said a lot of nice things about New York and the Yankees as well. Runner goes, and that one tagged toward the alley. That's going to drop down out there. A lunging play by Bradley to pick it up off the grass, but a run is going to come on in to score. Ellsbury down to second. That puts the Yankees in front 2-1. If Jackie had not done what he did, that's 3 bases.
You're exactly right. And you know, Jacoby's done a pretty good job against lefties in this series. David Price and now Owens he gets as Bradley cuts the ball off, but the run's going to score easily. And Jacoby Ellsbury in the second base with a double, picks up the RBI. That's going to be the night for Owens.
The Red Sox have to be pretty darn pleased with that. So that's it for Henry tonight. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Kia. Sox make it a chance. Couldn't make it through 5 innings, but he does go 4 2/3, giving up a couple of runs and giving way to Heath Hembree for his 37th appearance. Had a good year with a 2.37 ERA. His stats are brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Owens had struck out Sanchez twice. So now it's up to Hembree to keep that alive, keep that string going here after the double moments ago by Ellsbury to give the Yankees the lead. Sanchez punching out at first and again in the third on high stuff. Two men out. And wind continues to gust here.
In some ways now it seems worse than last night.
And a right-hander with the 0-1 pitch. According to Elias, the 20 home runs for Sanchez, the most in Major League history by a player who was not called up before August 1st. Red Sox have had his numbers so far tonight, though. Hembree very deliberate, and the 1-1 and a pop-up. Marrero off into right center field, calls everybody off and has it to retire the side. But the Yankees have retaken the lead, and through 5 it's 2-1 New York. is brought to you by Coors Banquet. On this date in 1998, Mo Vaughn homered twice and drove in 7 runs as the Red Sox beat the Indians 11-3 in Game 1 of the division series that ended a streak of 13 consecutive playoff losses for the Red Sox.
And Mo Vaughn on our pregame show talking with Tom Caron tonight.
Talking a lot about Big Papi and his career.
Yep.
Some of the similarities. Marrero leading things off here in the 6th inning. Red Sox are trailing 2-1 to Sabathia. Marrero 0 for 1. He has struck out. Devin's cousin is a first baseman. Chris Marrero played for the Paw Sox last year and re-signed with them as a minor league free agent last November. They got a chance to play together in a spring training game. Chris, a former first-round pick of the Nationals back in 06. Here's the 0-2.
Second good start in a row for Sabathia. Last time against Toronto, went 7 innings in that game, did not allow a run, was not involved in the decision.
He's ahead here. Tap past the mound, charging on Castro. He'll flip on and get him. And Marrero 0 for 2 tonight. 1 man away for the Red Sox here in the 6th. Just a completely different feeling in the ballpark tonight, certainly on the Red Sox side, as opposed to 24 hours ago. None of that anxiety is present anymore. Red Sox clinching the division in the most unusual of circumstances late last night and putting away the American League East. And that man Clay Buchholz was just superb as Hill gets in and he takes ball 1.
Trying to project ahead and pick a rotation for the Red Sox, and if I was to guess right now, I think it would be obviously Porcello, Price. Then I would go Buchholz and Erod.
1-0 is downstairs. I'm with you. I think Rick Porcello has earned the right to be that guy in Game 1.
Oh, absolutely, without doubt.
In the beginning of the season, you would have said, well, if the Red Sox are going to go back to postseason play, given the investment in David Price and his success, although that has yet to translate into postseason play, you would have said probably going to be David Price, but Porcello has just been so good. And at Fenway, losing 1 game all year, and that was 1-0. The 3-0 skips up there, and that'll be ball 4. So Sabathia walks a man. That's the second man he's walked tonight. And Boston with a base runner. David Ortiz final regular season stop only on NESN. 3 days of nonstop celebration from Fenway this weekend. Don't miss a minute. Red Sox and the Blue Jays. And it's tomorrow through Sunday on NESN, presented by buyatoyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Here's Benintendi, has struck out and grounded out tonight, taking ball 1. You're talking about David Ortiz in that Players Tribune letter. I was born to play against the Yankees. Boston is not just my team. Boston is my city. I consider myself a Bostonian, and it's the thing I am most proud of in the world. Very poignant there from Big Papi. Some more notes from that. Yankee fans, I got to admit something to you. I'm serious about this. I got love for you. Rival with the Yankees made me who I am. The intensity of that competition is what I'm going to miss the most when I'm done. Joe Girardi can't believe he's retiring. Check swing in there for a strike with the numbers he has put up. But he said, I'm encouraging him to do it.
Yeah, I don't think Joe's going to believe it till he gets to play the Red Sox next season and Ortiz is not there.
Gave Joe Torre a lot of headaches too. The 1-2 fouled away. Girardi's done a good job with this ball club.
I think he's done a great job with this team. Remember when we were around the All-Star break? I mean, everybody counted the Yankees completely out of this thing, or of any kind of race at all, because they got rid of 2/3 of their great bullpen, and among other moves.
And Carlos Beltran dealt away. That dips just off the outside.
Ooh, Sabathia wanted that real bad. And Al Porter saying it was too low. What Sabathia after, he wants this bad, and Porter will tell him the ball was too low as he points down at the ground.
Two. All filled up now on Benintendi, who's having a nice at bat here. Lefty on lefty. Aaron Hill on at first base, representing the tying run. We're in the 6th inning, 2-1 New York. Xander Bogaerts has blasted a home run. He's on deck. And the payoff pitch, a breaking ball, swung on and missed, and he gets him. Second time Benintendi has fanned.
I don't think that's exactly why CC wanted that pitch. He left it a little bit inside. Becomes a hittable breaking ball, but no contact by Benintendi. They wanted that ball away, but look where it is. Pretty much middle of the plate.
Sends up Xander, who has struck out looking, and then got some revenge on Sabathia by ripping a home run to the left field seats for number 21. And a nice power year for Xander Bogaerts. All last season he hit 7 home runs.
This was kind of expected. We were talking about this a lot during spring training, where we felt like, you know, Bogaerts, once he got a little bit more experience and started to look for that ball middle in certain situations, that he was able to drive the ball out of the ballpark, and he certainly has proven that this year.
His 89 RBIs this year, 81 last year.
Back in the 4th inning, Bogaerts gets the fastball from Sabathia, stays inside, and out it goes. And you know, Bogaerts has had to adjust a lot this year, because last year everything was away from him and he was taking everything to the opposite field. Well, the league changed. They started to throw him inside. The result, the average is going down some, but the power's going up.
Cut on and missed. He strikes out. That one in tight. Back-to-back strikeouts by Sabathia. Pitching around that ball for 2-1 Yankees. by Joseph Abboud, custom made in the USA of fine Italian fabrics and available at Men's Warehouse.
And might I say that my partner went to Joseph Abboud's store to pick up a tuxedo the other day. So you're going to be styling for some event.
Thank you very much. I got a big event coming up at the end of October. I've never had a tuxedo before. I've always rented them, you know, done that my entire life. And that's always been just fine. But then Joseph said, well, why don't we make you one? And when he says I'm going to make you a tuxedo, I'm doing that.
Yeah,
and it looks great.
I mean, you saw you rushing out the door. I said, where you going? He said, I'm going to see Joseph Abboud.
Yeah.
Got a tuxedo.
Right on Madison.
Tuxedo.
Yeah. Got a tux. Got a big event coming up.
Should have wore it for the Open.
Line drive and a leap, and Marrero can't get it. It'll be a base hit for Castro. Might be an idea for Sunday. You might be onto something there.
Oh, let
Black tie.
let me ask you this: is it for the Globies by any chance?
No. Got something else going on up in New Hampshire, requiring me to do the black tie, and I figured, I'll do it. You know, and Joseph was great. He personally designed it for me. He said I was going to look like James Bond. So okay. I'll let you be the judge.
All right.
You know,
yeah.
But it looks great. I mean, it's the best I've ever looked in anything. So, been able to help me. Did not, raise my stature necessarily, but I look sharp. What I have, I look sharp. Looking forward to putting that on. Here's Gregorius. Castro with a base hit. Gregorius has gone 0 for 2. Embry deals a busted bat pop up into right field, and Young right there to creep in. And out number 1. Time for a game break. It's brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox, and here's Tom Caron. One of the many things I love about Tom Caron is he really listens. He really pays attention.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't miss anything. Except what I just said, because maybe he's on his way back to the green room.
He might be. Headley with a ground out and a walk. He's also stolen a base. 2-1 Yankees have the lead here in the 6th inning. The Yankees can be eliminated tonight from wild card contention. There's about 14 things have to break for them if they have any chance to sneak in. Even with their very dramatic win last night on the home run by Teixeira, that game-winning grand slam, he said that is as hard as I can hit a baseball.
That was pretty hard. Low fastball right in the area where he likes it too.
On a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Might be the last home run he ever hits. And what a way to make that a memory. The 2-0. And he talked about it later. He said, if it's 8-0 and it's a wall scraper, you won't remember that, even if it is your last home run for very long. But a grand slam against the Red Sox and a walk-off, he said, I'll remember that forever. He's actually drafted by the Red Sox many years ago. Never did sign. The 3-0 and pumped in there for a strike. Robbie Scott, who has really emerged as some story in the Red Sox bullpen. Talking with Dana Levangie out there. Does a marvelous job working that pen. And that's going to miss for ball 4. So Headley on with a walk for the second time. Here comes John Farrell, and he wants the left-hander. With McCann coming up. So that'll put runners at first and second. We're going to take the break as well with the Yankees in front here. 1 down in the bottom of the 6th inning, 2-1 New York, and we'll have more in a moment. Baseball in NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. Sullivan Tire and Complete Auto Service. And by Reebok Spartan Race. Race in Fenway Park on November 12th and 13th. David Ortiz has already stepped aside tonight. Getting in the box a couple of times. And did reach on ball 4. Last time he ever got in here at Yankee Stadium. Now the bullpen trying to keep this one close. Yankees in front 2-1. Yankees on at first and second. And Scott out of the pen, where he has been impressive, taking on McCann.
Drops down to the side with both the fastball and the breaking ball.
On Saturday in the victory against Tampa Bay, he allowed a single to Kiermaier, the only batter he faced. And then he was out of the game. In there for a strike. Made his major league debut at Oakland on September 2nd. Did not draw a lot of notice. But then he threw a career high 3 innings against the Yankees on September 15th. And that really opened some eyes. 1-1 to McCann. And bends in there for a strike.
It's a good breaking ball. He starts it out almost behind the left-handed hitter, and it breaks so much it catches the plate because of the angle he throws it from.
McCann struck out the second and again in the 4th against Henry Owens, who went 4 2/3, giving up 2 runs. Two and 2. Aaron Hicks on deck, 1 man away. And Scott with a 2-2. Towards center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. The runner Castro will advance to third and stop there, and that's going to load him up. McCann dunking one down into center. Well, say hello to the DD Perks loyalty program. It's how Dunkin' Donuts shows big time appreciation to loyal fans with great offers and perks. Enroll today at ddperks.com or on the Dunkin' mobile app. The Red Sox run on Dunkin'. So no place to put the next man, Hicks, who has struck out and singled. He bunted for a hit. He actually popped it up in the 5th inning. Owens went for it, could not make the play. And later he would score. Yankees in front 2-1. Ball 1.
Trying to keep that fastball away from him that time. See if he'd roll over one and try to get a ground ball for a double play and get out of the inning.
Scott from the set, the 1-0. Tried the inside part of the plate and came up empty there. Not by much, though.
I said Alan Porter's a guy that generally has a pretty big strike zone, but that really hasn't been the case tonight. Especially on low pitches, low strikes.
Now Hicks has the count his way with the bases jammed. And only 1 out. Checked his swing. Did he offer? He did not, says Brian Onora. So that's ball 3. Baltimore's taking a 4-0 lead on Toronto in the top half of the 8th inning in Canada. So it's Castro at third base, Headley at second base, McCann at first. And he has to throw a strike right here. 3-1. Red Sox resting a lot of the regulars tonight. Dustin Pedroia, Mookie Betts, Sandy Leon, Hanley Ramirez. And he'll have to go the rest of the night without Big Papi because he was removed for a pinch runner. (3-1) coming. And a high pop to right, not deep. Young, with that wind pushing it, very shallow, makes the play, and the runners have to stay put. He came way in on that.
Well, that became an adventure for Young. That ball hit very high, and that's one that the wind really took control of. Watch Young go to his left, then has to come in and then reach across his body right there to make the catch. And obviously not deep enough for the man at third base to tag up. But just catching that ball was a pretty good play.
So 2 down. Tyler Austin, number 9 man next. He is singled and struck out tonight. And Sox trying to keep it close here. 2-1 New York. Come the 7th inning. Holt, Young, and Bradley are the first 3 men due up for the Red Sox. Austin, the youngster. First pitch to him, knocked down by Hannigan. Ball 1. Austin made his major league debut in the middle of August against Tampa Bay. Hit a home run in his first career plate appearance. The 4th Yankee in franchise history to do that. He combined a Double-A and Triple-A to hit .294 with 17 home runs, so he has good power. Castro, Headley, and McCann on the bases, and the 1-0 pitch. That's a bullet, but he hooked it foul. Nice play there by the ball attendant.
Yeah, very nice backhanded play going against the top. And clearly in the glove before it hit the top.
One ball and 1 strike on Austin. Scott trying to get out of this with 2 down. And now to count 1-2.
A little different look that time. The changeup from Scott. We have not seen too many of those from him.
Barnes now in the pen. Red Sox have to piece it together tonight. Although Henry Owens was only in the game 4 2/3, he looked pretty good. Only allowed 4 hits, and he struck out 6. 1-2. Bounced up there, and a stop by Hannigan.
Tried to double up on the changeup that time, but no chase by Austin. Nice block by Hannigan to save a run.
Austin hit a walk-off home run back on September 8th against Tampa Bay. First Yankee rookie to do that in about 10 years. Of course, they had the walk-off grand slam last night. Here's the 2-2. And now full count. So once again, Scott has to throw a strike. Bases loaded, 2 down. 3-2. Castro at third, Headley at second, McCann at first. Yankees are trying to bust this thing open. And the left-hander fires. Runners go. And it's inside. That's going to walk in a run. Here comes Castro. Austin will pick up the RBI with the bases loaded free pass. And the Yankees are now on top 3-1. So Scott's last couple of appearances have not gone as well as the first handful.
And it is, Dave, a little bit of an audition for postseason. We have no idea what the pitching staff is really going to look like. We know certain people that are going to be on it, but there's going to be spots open. And I think that may be one of the reasons we're getting an extended look at him right now.
Red Sox season ticket holders, you can experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, just visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877 Red Sox 9 today. So bases loaded walk produces another run. Now it's the top of the order in Gardner, who's gone 0 for 3. He's grounded out to short, line to center field, and popped to the shortstop. Three runs on 6 hits for the Yankees. 1 run on just 3 hits for the Sox so far against Sabathia. And the first one to Gardner. That's all the way to the backstop. Here comes another run scampering in. Chase Headley scores to make it 4-1. It'll be a wild pitch on Scott. Right now the wheels are coming off for him a bit.
Yeah, getting a little bit ugly. Walking a man with the bases loaded. A wild pitch with the bases loaded brings in another run. The ball really breaking a long way away. You know, it was impossible for Hannigan to slide over that far to his left. He had to try to glove that ball and could not do it.
So Headley comes in to score. McCann down to third and Austin into second on the wild one. 2 down. And the 1-0 to Gardner. Red Sox fell in game 1 here 6-4. They lost last night 5-3 on a grand slam. And the Yankees are threatening to return the favor. Red Sox of course swept them 4 straight at Fenway. This is only a 3-game series. 1-1 loop toward left field coming on Benintendi. He was shallow anyway. He'll make the play and retire the side, but the Yankees scored twice and now lead it 4-1 as we go to the 7th.
to Red Sox baseball on NESN. In his final season, David Ortiz is still one of the top hitters in baseball. Now you can get free text alerts to let you know every time he is coming up to bat. And you can hear about special Poppy programs coming up on NESN. Just text Poppy to 536-536. All this made possible by buyatoyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Message and data rates may apply. Obi, back to you.
Special Poppy programs. Well done. Well done, Garen. That's not an easy one. One strike on Brock Holt. Red Sox are down here 4-1 to Sabathia, who has allowed only 3 hits. Brock Holt is first at bat. He did come on to run for David Ortiz when Big Poppy took ball 4 in the 4th inning. Boston Red Sox, despite winning the division last night, still have to win games if they want that home field advantage. And Clippard is now loosening in their bullpen. Again, Texas is idle. And Cleveland got rained out today against Detroit. Did he hold up? That's a swing and a miss, and down he goes, strike 3. So Brock Holt fans, to begin the 7th inning, a 4-1 Yankee lead.
At the bottom of the strike zone, the low pitch being called that time is Tazawa loosening for the Red Sox.
Now here's Chris Young up there for the 3rd time tonight, a single. He's also hit into a 5-4-3 double play. Jackie Bradley on deck again. That wind really starting to kick. 1-1 on Chris.
Getting cold too, Dave.
I would say it's dropped about 10 or 12 degrees.
Yeah, feels like fall.
I do like that. A little nip in the air. The 1-1. Tried to lift, but couldn't connect.
Change up that time from Sabathia. Everybody kind of bundled up tonight at the stadium.
Taking the turn toward October. And October baseball. The 1-2. All even up on Young, Jackie Bradley, and Ryan Hannigan also to hit against Sabathia. One of the home runs, one of the hits he allowed was a home run to Xander Bogaerts. That was in the 4th inning. Number 21 for Xander. As the only Red Sox run against the big lefty. And the 2-2 toward right field. Hicks is there though to put it away. So that's the 2nd out. Tomorrow at 5, don't miss Friday Night Fenway presented by Budweiser. TC, Jim Rice, and Steve Lyons will preview the final regular season series of David Ortiz's career. Friday Night Fenway presented by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Happy to report it's the final regular season series for David Ortiz, but postseason to come. His time of year. Actually, the entire season has been David's time of year. 316 coming into tonight. 37 homers, 124 runs batted in. What a swan song. Line shot ripped into left field. It slices in there for a base hit. Jackie Bradley is on with 2 down.
Job staying in that time by Jackie Bradley, keeping that front shoulder tucked in and taking Sabathia's pitch to the opposite field for the line drive base hit with 2 outs.
And Joe Girardi had gotten on the horn there. They do have an active bullpen. And the batter will be Ryan Hannigan, who blooped in a single last time up. Ryan's gone 1 for 2. Sabathia's pitching line is brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Been very strong tonight, 6 2/3, and just the 4 hits. You go back to the start of last year when Ryan Hanigan is the starting catcher. The Red Sox are 16 games over 500, including 31-14 in his last 14 or last 45. And that's going to be a ball, and now McCann wants to walk it out there. Four runs on 6 hits for New York, 1 run on 4 hits for the Red Sox. Nobody's made an error tonight. Get expert emergency care without leaving the ballpark at Fenway at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, the first aid station. That's located behind section 12 on the lower concourse. Visit bidmc.org. Two down in the 7th. Well, now to count 3 balls and no strikes on Hanigan. Travis Shaw on deck. They get a right-hander warming in the pen. As mentioned before, that's Tyler Clippard. Here's the 3-0 and a strike. So the Red Sox are going to have to come from behind tonight, which they did over and over again in the sweep of the Yankees at Fenway. Bradley leading, and a ground ball, friendly bounce there for Headley into second base. That almost took him off the bag, but Castro held it to retire the side. Middle of the 7th inning, and it's the Yankees 4 and the Sox 1. To strike out hunger. For every strikeout by a Sox pitcher this season, Lexus donates $50 to the Greater Boston Food Bank.
And Dave, I got some news on that last message you wrote. $68,000 presented to the Greater Boston Food Bank to help strike out hunger. That on your right is Vin Liuzzi, who is the general manager of Lexus of Watertown. So thank you very much for that tremendous donation.
That's a big check.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Red Sox are going to turn the baseball over to Junichi Tazawa, who tossed a scoreless 6th inning and 10 pitches a couple of nights ago. Made 17 appearances since being activated from the DL on July 22nd because of that shoulder impingement. Right now, 4.25 earned run average for Junichi. And he'll be taking on Ellsbury, Sanchez, and Castro. Very tough part of the order for the Yankees here as we take it to the last half of the 7th inning. Red Sox with only 1 run on the board tonight on a home run by Xander Bogaerts in the 4th inning against Sabathia, who's been very, very good. And the reason the Red Sox are down 4-1. Relive Poppy's legendary career by downloading NESN's free interactive collection of his greatest moments. From on-field milestones and postseason heroics to off-the-field fun, including appearances on late-night shows and Saturday Night Live. Right here in New York City. Go to NESN.com/Ortiz34. Made an appearance on the Seth Meyers show while he was here. Seth's a New England guy. Big Sox fan. He's thrilled to have David on while the Sox have been in town. Jacoby Ellsbury has walked and scored. He's also doubled in a run. And Sanchez on deck. Jacoby 0 for 3 last night. Coming into tonight, he had been slumping a bit, just 4 hits his last 23 at bats. Got a big double though in the 5th. He strokes that one foul down the left field line, slicing off into the seats.
Kind of a strange last couple of series between the Red Sox and Yankees. All Red Sox and series at Fenway Park. All Yankees so far in this series.
And the Yankees breaking the Red Sox 11-game winning streak, which catapulted Boston to a comfortable lead in the division, which they won last night despite the Yankee victory. Liner into left, Benintendi closing, but it's going to drop down for a base hit. So Jacoby's nice night continues as he reaches base for the 3rd time.
That's a split finger fastball that time from this hour, and a good job by Jacoby Ellsbury to stay back on it, put it on the line, and put it in front of Benintendi.
Tonight, after Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, a full report from Bruins training camp, plus the latest on the Pats as they prepare for the Bills on Sunday. NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Who's playing quarterback this weekend?
I think you. That's the last I heard.
Might actually be able to win with me at quarterback.
Belichick will coach you up.
Unbelievable. Here's Sanchez. 2 strikeouts. He's also popped a second. Henry Owens did very good work on him with a pair of Ks. He went 4 2/3. At this point, though, Henry will lose the game unless the Red Sox can rally. They're trailing now 4-1. The 0-1. Well, this young Yankee slugger, he's going to sell a lot of seats next year here at Yankee Stadium. Such great promise with these 20 home runs and just a couple games over the 50-game mark.
There they go. They elevate the fastball again, and he fouls it off. It's become a bit of a pattern for the Red Sox pitches. We saw Owens do it earlier in the ball game. Now this is an elevated fastball, and just fouled off by Sanchez. Let's see what he does with 2 strikes on him. Want to go upstairs again.
Ellsbury not running. High deep drive. Down that line again, but man, does he hook him. Another monster shot foul, which he's done twice in this game.
Girardi may take a look at this to see if it was in fair territory or foul territory. Well, there's a high fastball, but it stays inside. And Sanchez cleans it out. And you can see there clearly in foul territory.
But a long way.
Well, the ball just jumps off his bat.
He is scary. And Tizao with a 1-2 to Sanchez. And that one ate him up. Down low, and he golfed at it and missed it. And he strikes out for the third time tonight.
That's good pitching right there. You know, they go up top twice. So he's thinking about the high fastball. Tazawa comes back with the split-fingered fastball right here, down, changing the eye level, and gets him to chase one that's not a strike.
Maybe the developing book then on how to pitch him. Go upstairs like that and then drop it into the dirt and get him to chase it.
Well, they got him tonight on a changeup, a high fastball, and now a split-fingered fastball.
Here's Castro. He's had a good night as well with a double and a single. He's also lined out to right field.
Ellsbury wanted to run right there. He was really leaning towards second base and had a lot of weight on that right leg.
Already has a steal tonight. One man out, one man on. Runner not going. He wails away and comes up empty.
And one thing, Castro hasn't got cheated with his swings tonight.
21 home runs this season. Dealt from the Cubs, where he was their everyday shortstop, to the Yankees. Now the Yankees very unlikely to go to postseason play, and the Cubs are the favorite. Quickly 0-2. Cubs have won 101 games. They just extended Theo's deal another 5 years. I believe that was for $50 million.
I believe you are correct. $50 million.
He has rebuilt that franchise, or built them into what they are. Swung on and fouled away. Certainly the favorite coming out of the National League. You know, many baseball fans around America would love the idea of a Cubs-Red Sox World Series. I think many TV executives would love that. Two storied franchises, and one that broke the so-called curse, and another trying to do it, if you believe in such things. And two great old ballparks. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Got a piece to hang in there.
See Ellsbury that time at first base trying to get that jab step going to second base, but it was timing was a little bit off. So decides to hold up.
Two strikes on Starlin Castro. Gregorius on deck. Yankees ahead 4-1. We are in the 7th. Getaway night for the Sox. Heading back to Boston. Runner goes. Foul to the screen.
Just a matter of time. Jacoby's been trying to go this whole at bat with Castro at the plate, and you could tell last time he didn't time it quite right. That time he did. There's the jump at first base.
Castro doubled in a run in the first inning, doubled in Jacoby Ellsbury, and then singled and scored in the 6th inning. But down 2 strikes to Tazawa. And a foul ball. Sox coming home for the final regular season weekend, all against Toronto. Very meaningful games for both the Sox and the Blue Jays. Baltimore has defeated Toronto. They blanked them 4-0 in Canada. And game 1 on Friday night, we'll have Rick Porcello on the hill, going after his 23rd victory of 2016. Some year for Rick. Pretty darn near automatic. Runner takes off again, and it's popped up. As Bogart's drifting back on it, and back into first base Jacoby Ellsbury, and now they're 2 down. Hey, join us November 14th at the House of Blues for a celebration of New England sports icons. Tickets on sale now for a limited time. You can get yours at theglobies.com. The Globies are presented by Mercedes-Benz.
And you're one of the icons.
I'm a nominee. I'll put it that way.
Well, it said icons on the promo.
You're going to be there.
I'm an ambassador.
You're an ambassador. What does that mean? What does that mean that you're an ambassador? What's your job description?
You got me. You know, I get little tidbits of information every now and then. You know, I tweet out something about it.
Yeah.
On the actual night, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. I'll find out.
It's a lot. It's very important.
I hope it's a job that really means something.
Ambassador. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Gregorius tried to hold up the swing, the appeal, and no swing, says the third base umpire, Tom Payne. I mean, do you get like a sash, do you think you can wear? It says ambassador.
Yeah, that would be good.
Globey ambassador. I'd pay to see that if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I really don't know what's in store. You know, I'm just an ambassador.
It'll be fun. It's a great night there at the House of Blues. It's a terrific spot. Ground ball wrapped there to Marrero. He'll handle the chance, and that will retire the side. So Tazawa pitches around that leadoff single. We go to the 8th, 4-1, the Yankees. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Go to the 8th inning here, 4-1 Yankees, and Sabathia continues to pitch. We'll see for how much longer. Getting a left-handed hitter in Shaw to start the 8th inning. He's got Travis to ground out and hit into a double play. Marrero and Hill will follow. Again, the Red Sox without a number of regulars tonight after clinching last night. Little topper to first base, and Austin will take it.
That might be the night for CC Sabathia. I think he might have been in it just to face the lefty, and here comes Girardi.
Yep, making the move. He's had Clippard out there throwing for about 20 minutes. So he's certainly warmed up, and that's all for Sabathia, who's going to get a really nice hand. 36-year-old veteran left-hander pitching into the 8th inning. And departs with a 4-1 lead here over the Red Sox, and we'll have more in just a moment. Playbook Saturday morning at 9 on NESN. Billy will be hosting a tailgate at Gillette Stadium. Dining Playbook on NESN, driven by New England Chevy dealers. So Sabathia takes a seat, did his job tonight, getting it out here in the 8th inning, ahead 4-1, giving way to Tyler Clippard. 27 appearances since he joined the Yankees, 1-3 with 2 saves, and he's pitched well, a .266 ERA. John Farrell will counter and bring on Marco Hernandez off the bench. And Torreyes has taken over at second base. Defensively for New York. In there for Castro. And pumped in there for a strike on Hernandez. Marco recalled on August 25th for his 5th major league stint of the season. He's played in 38 games for the Red Sox. He's hit .306. Hit a big home run in Baltimore. And Clippard home with a 1-1. Foul back.
A lot of fastballs, a lot of changeups from Clippard. And changeup at fastball at 92 miles an hour inside.
Acquired by the Yankees from Arizona right at the end of July at the trade deadline. He has pitched for the Yankees, the Nationals, the A's, the Mets, and the Diamondbacks. And cut on and missed. He got him with a 92 mile an hour fastball.
Slipped a little bit too on his delivery, and the ball was supposed to be outside. It stayed inside. He slipped, but he got the strikeout. See the location of the catcher away, but the ball goes up and in. Clippard almost goes down, and down goes Hernandez.
There were a couple of times last night where Clay Buchholz delivered a pitch and he looked back at his landing spot. And he only allowed 1 hit. So he couldn't have been too upset, but there were a couple of times he did that. In there for a strike on Hill, who has struck out, lined to third, and taken ball 4 tonight. Red Sox are trailing 4-1. And getting late here in the Bronx. Last trip in until the 2017 season. Off speed there at 78. Oh, and 2 on Hill. High fly into left field, and Gardner is there, coming in with the wind pushing it back, and he's got it. Quiet inning for the Red Sox here in the 8th. They go 1, 2, 3. Moment brought to you by Old Dominion. And that young ball attendant down the line made the play of the night defensively.
Yeah, very difficult play, reaching across his body and taking the catch in the webbing of the glove before he hits the top.
Old Dominion helping the world keep promises. He's going to go home and brag that Jerry Remy broke down my catch.
That was a pretty good play. Made it look easy too. Hardly came out of the chair.
That's a pro. Chase Headley leading things off in the last half of the 8th inning against Robbie Ross Jr. 53 appearances now with a 3.17 ERA. Should be a key man in the Red Sox bullpen in October. Marco Hernandez remaining in the game to play second base.
Had a nice morning this morning. Had breakfast, very early breakfast with some season ticket holders for the Red Sox at the team hotel. I had to get up at 6:30 today.
6:30?
Yeah.
Bounding ball to third, down to snatch that is Hill. You got him. You are dedicated with your fans. I will say that.
Well, it was well worth it. They were a great group. They were very pleased about the Red Sox winning the Eastern Division, and it was a nice little get together.
Did they include breakfast in the get together?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful spread.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Glad you don't skip breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Here's McCann, who's gone 1 for 3 with a single, and he has struck out twice. I think at 6:30 I rolled over and looked at the alarm and said, you know what?
I think a lot of folks in our party did today. But no, not me.
Up and at 'em. Called strike on McCann. Red Sox come the 9th inning will have due up Benintendi, Bogarts, and Brock Holt. And Betances getting ready. So the Red Sox will have to rally against him, which they've done before. A gusty night here in New York City. Red Sox are trying to avoid a 3-game sweep. Two and two on McCann. Former Atlanta Braves catcher. His career has run right up against Gary Sanchez, at least in terms of being the everyday catcher. Sanchez is now the man. Here's the 2-2. Tonight, NESN proud to present our second Big Papi special, the David Ortiz era, presented by Foxwoods Resort Casino. An in-depth look at how Big Papi went from being an unheralded free agent to the face of the franchise. That is tonight, right after the game, on NESN and NESN National, and that'll be ball 4. So McCann is on for the second time. And here's Hicks. Bunted his way on, got lucky on that 5th inning. He popped it up on the infield between first and second base, and it fell in for a single. He's 1 for 3. A lot of them have left, but they had a big crowd at the outset here today. 41,597, the announced crowd. And a lot of them here to see David Ortiz. A lot of Sox fans here tonight. The ceremony for David was very nice. He had a big smile, had his lovely family out onto the diamond. A couple of presentations. One of those made by Mariano Rivera. That one shot into left center field. Jackie Bradley giving chase, headed toward the wall. It's onto the warning track and short hops the fence. McCann heading to third. They're going to wave him in. He's going to try and score. Here's the throw to the plate on the relay, and it gets by, and the run scores. Down to second is Hicks. Big smile for McCann there as the Yankees add another. They're now on top 5-1.
I was watching McCann come around the bases, and it didn't look like he was going to make it to home plate. There's the ball bouncing over the head of Jackie Bradley. And look at McCann. I mean, he's really scuffling to get to home, and then the slide, but he does make it. What's his name? That was not exactly Usain Bolt going around third base.
Not exactly. Not exactly gold medal stuff, but he gets it done. Here's Tyler Austin. One down, a run in, 5-1 New York. On a walk and a double. And Austin has singled and he's taken ball 4. That was with the bases loaded back in the 6th inning.
Talking about this weekend coming up with David Ortiz, it's going to be a very, very emotional weekend for Ortiz. There's no question about that. I was fortunate to be there for Yaz's last trip at Fenway Park, and this is going to outdo that.
The 2-0 in there for a called strike. Well, I have that memory of Carl Yastrzemski running, shaking hands and around the warning track.
Yeah, and that was so uncharacteristic for him too. You know, we were all a little bit surprised when that happened.
2-2.
And I'm not sure you plan stuff like that. You know, I think something just clicks and something happens and something you want to do and you just do it.
Yeah, when it happens organically like that, it's just better.
Yeah.
People remember it forever. One down to 2-2. And down he goes, strike three. And that is out number 2 in the last half of the 8th inning. Tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU. TC, Jim Rice, and Steve Lyons will have complete coverage of the Red Sox pregame ceremony for David Ortiz. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Brett Gardner hitless tonight at the top of the order. He's gone 0 for 4. 5-1 Yankees in the 8th. Blyer going to the bullpen for New York. Kobe Ellsbury's the on deck hitter. He's been a pest tonight. Been on base 3 times, driven in a run, stolen a base against his old mates. Jacoby was out there, part of the presentation for his former teammate Big Papi in the pregame. Slap foul out of play. The David Ortiz era right after the ball game. And right here on Nesson. Red Sox will still have a chance when we go to the 9th inning. Here's the 1-1. Off the mid of Hannigan. The runner will advance. Hicks down to third. Look back at the pregame. A big smile there. And a hug between the two former mates.
That is David Cone to the left. Also played with the Red Sox.
Yep, now broadcaster for the Yankees. Later it was Mariano Rivera unveiling a painting showing David at home plate right here at Yankee Stadium. As a gift, here comes the 2-1. That'll be in there for a called strike. David got a very nice hand here, and then a standing ovation when he left after taking ball 4, and Brock Holt came on to run for him. The 2-2. He misses away. The Sox fans should see most of the regulars in the lineup on Friday, tomorrow, in Game 1 against Toronto. Payoff pitch. And he walks him. So Gardner reaches for the first time tonight. The 3 of the men who have walked tonight for the Yankees have come on in to score. Hey, tomorrow at 5:30, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abboud. Available at Men's Warehouse. John Farrell will join TC on the field at Fenway for an exclusive interview. Closer look at that painting. The unveiling here tonight for David. I think David really liked it.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat painting, isn't it?
It is. In there for a strike on Jacoby Ellsbury with runners at first and third and 2 down. 5-1 New York. And Ross having a little bit of trouble with the strike zone. Again, the Red Sox will play their first postseason game on Thursday, the 6th. And a location to be determined. A ball and 2 strikes on Ellsbury. However, if the Red Sox lose this one, Texas is idle tonight. The Red Sox would fall 2 games behind the Rangers with 3 to play in the bid to be the top dog in the American League, best record. So it would take a big weekend for Boston. Home at Fenway to overcome that. The 1-2. It's Noe Ramirez getting going in the Sox pen. They've had Betances all warmed up for the Yankees and another one outside to make it 3-2. An elusive strike zone for the lefty. 3-2. They lead away at first and third. Hicks and Gardner. Gardner takes off and he got jammed there, and Ellsbury flicks a foul into the screen.
And Rush has been having a difficult time getting his breaking ball over, so back to the fastball there, and the foul ball by Jacoby Ellsbury.
Now the 3-2. Popped up, twisting foul off third base, and that's going to make the stands. So they'll do it again on 3-2. Saturday at 7:10, Eduardo Rodriguez goes to the mound for the first time since his 13 strikeout gem against Tampa Bay, and then David Price finishes it off on Sunday afternoon at 3:05. Fouled away once again.
Ellsbury's had some very, very good at bats tonight.
He's been on base 3 times. Every team plays at the same time on Sunday at 3 o'clock to finish out the regular season. Now they're going to bring on a runner for Gardner at first base. With 2 down and a count 3 balls and 2 strikes. That is Mason Williams wearing that high number, 66. And that's going to be outside. He walked him, and the bases are loaded for the Yankees. John Farrell has seen enough. Going to go to Noe Ramirez now. With Gary Sanchez coming, the Red Sox had certainly hoped to avoid facing him again in this series, but now they're going to have to, because the Red Sox have walked 3 men in the inning. Rough outing for Ross. 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th inning, 5-1. The Yankees, they have the bases loaded, and we'll have more in just a moment. Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And a look at our Xfinity game summary. A 5-1 Yankee lead. Henry Owens went 4 2/3 innings. At this point he would take the loss. Sabathia was very tough over 7 1/3. He struck out 8. Jacoby Ellsbury 2 for 3 with a double. He has just taken ball 4 to load up the bases as the Red Sox go to Noe Ramirez. Last time out he worked an inning and a third against Baltimore and gave up 1 run. Sanchez has been very quiet to this point. He's gone 0 for 4 with 3 Ks as he takes a strike. The bases are all jammed up here in the 8th. 1 run in this inning for the Yankees. Ramirez trying to get out of the jam and delivers a strike. He jumps in front 0-2. Ramirez, the 5th Red Sox reliever to appear in this game. And now time is granted. Again, the Red Sox will have Benintendi due to lead off the 9th inning. Then Bogarts, who did homer back in the 4th inning against Sabathia, and Brock Holt. 0-2, and he got him. Boy, he strikes out again for the 4th time of the game and leaves him loaded. That's all for the Yankees, but they lead it 5-1 as we go to the 9th. Left-hander Richard Blyer made his 20th appearance of the season, his 2nd in as many days in Tuesday's win here, retiring both batters that he faced. And he'll get Benintendi to begin the 9th inning. Red Sox needing 4 to tie. 5-1 New York. They've out-hit the Sox 8-4. The only Red Sox run, the home run by Xander Bogaerts in the 4th inning off Sabathia. Andrew tonight with a couple of Ks and a tapper to second. Red Sox ready to head back home to Fenway for the last 3 games of the regular season. And a line shot, but a foul ball down the left field line.
Ooh, not such a good play right there by the attendant, who made a spectacular play earlier in the game. Doesn't seem to be bothered by it too much, though. Is ready for another one. Well, he is bothered by it.
Jerry, it's eating him up.
Yeah, he's hoping for one more shot before the game's over.
Redemption. He's made one nice play. Flying into left field and heading for it now to make the catch, the left fielder for out number 1. Williams staying in the ball game. And coming up in just a little bit, at the end of this ball game, the David Ortiz era premiering tonight, right after Red Sox coverage presented by Foxwoods. One away in the 9th inning. Xander cracking his 21st home run in the 4th and his 89th RBI. But it has been a pretty quiet night for the Red Sox offensively, with so many of the regulars out. David Ortiz only coming up a couple times. Hanley Ramirez, Dustin Pedroia, Mookie Betts, Sandy Leon with the night off. Baltimore defeated Toronto 4-0. Texas did not play. Cleveland did not play. They tried to, but rain got in the way and rained out their game with the Detroit Tigers. Oh, 2, and he fouls it away. Now, for the first time tonight, just a little bit of trace of rain. Unfortunately, the forecast for the weekend back home at Fenway is not great. But we're hoping to dodge it. 0-2, and there's another one socked into left field. That's well hit. Williams turning around, backing up, and he makes the play. That was hit better at the crack of the bat, but the wind really knocked it down.
Yeah, it's in that area too, where there's an open space, as you can see out there, between the high stands and the where they start to have that scoreboard area, and it got trapped right in the middle of that and just knocked it right down.
He knows he hit it too, but denied, and now there are 2 down for Brock Holt. Brock's only had 1 at bat tonight, and he struck out. That was in the 7th inning. Base is empty, and 2 away in the 9th. 5-1 New York. And the 0-1. Fouled off again. And the 0-2 coming. That skips away. And now Sabathia would get the win. He pitched into the 8th inning and was very effective tonight. And Owens would take the loss. Yankees are trying to sweep the 3-game series. 1-2. He had a notion, but he held off that, and the count moves to 2-2.
That's a pretty tough pitch to hold off for Brock Holt. I mean, it looks like it's going to hit the outside corner, but then the big break at the end takes it away from the corner, and Holt does not swing at it. Very tempting.
Swung on and missed. Down he goes, strike 3, and that'll do it. 5-1 the final score. The Yankees sweep the Sox here. Ellsbury was right in the thick of it. Sabathia picks up the win. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Yankees. 1 run on the home run by Xander Bogaerts, and 4 total hits for the Red Sox, who are now headed back home to wrap up the regular season. First of 3 on Friday against Toronto, and we'll have more on this one in just a moment.